why the foreign data wrapper capability is so crucial, not only for Postgres, but also for YugabyteDB. So Frank, show your cool demo that you worked on.
So first, you may be surprised. I'm sharing Amazon Redshift, so the data warehouse service in Amazon, just because we do not optimize for data warehouse in Yugabyte, but you may have data on Redshift, for example. And the cool thing is that Redshift is not Postgres compatible, but was built from Postgres, from an old version of Postgres. And if, for example, I select version, you see if you see like the version from Redshift, which is a different database, but it was built on Postgres 8. So that's a really old one. Their goal is not to be Postgres compatible, but it was built on Postgres 8, which means that it uses the same protocol, the same drivers, which means that we can use the Postgres foreign data wrapper to access Redshift. So the first thing I did was to set a password in my Redshift that I can connect. And basically, I'm still in Redshift, and I will show a query on those tables that I can run there. And what I will do is run the same query, but from Yugabyte, reading data from Redshift. Then I will go to a cluster that I have in the cloud. And I think I can do that from the Cloud Shell. So here I'm connected to Yugabyte, simply. The version of Yugabyte, we are in the latest preview 1. And here I will simply create extension because the libraries are there and the libraries are loaded with the first change that Redec did. And I just say create extension. So the only thing, creating the extension just gives the ability to create server. So that's the definition of the connection to the server. So this is the host of my Redshift server on AWS with this port, and the name of the database is just the name of the database where I have my sample tables there. And so first you create a server. This doesn't connect. Then you need a user. And the thing is that you map your current user to a foreign user. So here I'm mapping admin because I'm connected as admin, which is probably not a good idea in production, but it's just a lab. And then that means that I can connect to it, but I can also import the metadata so that in Yugabyte, in the Yugabyte catalog, there is enough information to know which tables are accessible. And for that, I will put them in a schema because it's just always good to have a logical namespace, especially if it's tables that are remote. It's good to know that they are in a specific schema. And then I will use the import foreign, sorry, that was fast. Import foreign schema. So that's the name of the schema on Redshift. That's the name of the server that I've defined with the host and the port into my local schema. So now I can query those tables, but I can also list them with \d described and external table, and with a plus we have more information about the options. So this just lists the foreign tables that I have in my local TPCH schema. And then basically what I will do, first I will set timing on to see how long it takes. And what I will do, the query that I've run there remotely. So that was run. Let me see. I don't know if we have the time it takes, but it was fast. Running on Redshift. And I will run that. It will be okay. So here you can see that I am querying the foreign tables. It takes some time because there is a lot of data, and I think I'm in the same region, but maybe in different zones. But I can also explain. And if the copy paste is still working, take it again from my notepad. And then we have the execution plan. And recommendation, always look at the execution plan, because the foreign data wrapper does a lot of very smart things, but that depends on the capabilities of the foreign database also. And this one is really cool because I had a join here between three tables. Three tables that are quite large, but there are some filters and group bys and order by. And for sure, I don't want to fetch the whole tables and join them in Yugabyte. And you can see that the join was pushed down to the foreign scan. The foreign scan doesn't scan directly the tables, it scans the join.
That's excellent.
So it's
This is the way to go. Yeah.
Yeah. The
So-
foreign data wrapper builds a query to send to the foreign table and trying to push down the maximum of things like the join. We don't see the where clause there, but it was also pushed down. The only thing that is done locally is the sort of those 10,000 rows. So that's not a problem. All filtering and group by was done remotely. I think the sort is done locally just to be sure about the different collations of the databases. And sort depends on the collations. I don't know if it's by default or just it checks the collations and better to sort them. But that's the most important. And we can see it